Well, we've already looked at this morning the two big things. We have peace with God. That means the war is over. But it's more than just weapons down. It's that God welcomes us into his presence because of what Christ has done. So the picture of the Old Testament temple is gone because of Christ's death. Everybody is welcome. The message from God is not stay away, but come on in because of Christ. Then what Paul is doing in Romans 5, what he seems to be doing, we had the theme on our camp this weekend, Back to the Future, the old film. And what Paul is doing is he's trying to get us to see that if we're going to have an assurance of our faith, if we're going to flourish and grow as Christians, we've got to see life in 3 time zones. Okay? Time zone 1 is the life of Christ. It's everything that Christ has accomplished in his life, in his death, and his resurrection. So you look at all the past tenses, you have been justified. You have been saved. So he's talking all those things in past tenses. That has happened. So your faith, your assurance is not based on how you feel whether or not you're a Christian. It's on what Christ has done in history. You have been justified. So what I was trying to do with the young people this morning was actually to show them that their faith is built upon historical fact, what God has done. Not about feeling, not about emotion. So you have time zone 1. Time zone 2 is where we live now, our present day reality. And then you have time zone 3, which is future glory. Now, if we're going to grow as Christians, if we're going to flourish, we've got to see our life in those 3 time zones. Time zone 1, Christ's life, death and resurrection, and all that he achieved. Time zone 2, where we live now, and then time zone 3, glory and the new creation. Now, what we looked at this evening was this little phrase that Paul uses, is that we glory in our suffering. And just ask the question, what does he actually mean by that? How can you glory in suffering? And we got the young people to look forward to Romans 18 through to verse 30. And we asked them 2 questions. And the first question is this, is living in time zone 2, what is time zone 2 marked by? And I've got the young people to look for 5 or 6 minutes just through those verses. And what kind of words come up? Frustration, groaning. The creation is groaning like a woman in childbirth. Frustration, groaning, longing, waiting. And what's that saying? It's that suffering, we suffer for 2 reasons in this world. Because of the fall and because we follow Christ. We just looked at the fall. So this world is marked by suffering, by groaning, by all those kind of things, frustration. So that when someone we love dies, when someone we love gets cancer, when there's a tragedy in this world, it's right for Christians to feel frustrated. It's right for us to groan. It's right for us to feel the pain and the anguish of that, because this world is not where, this world is a place of suffering and anguish. And what it does, what the Holy Spirit does, and Romans 5 verse 5 says that God gives us the Holy Spirit who pours out God's love. He thrusts us to look at the cross, judge God's love, not by your present reality, but by what God has done on the cross. And then he turns our head and says, now look forward. Look forward. Yes, you groan. Yes, you suffer. Yes, there's frustration. But, and then we look forward to what the Holy Spirit, second question, is what words are used to describe what will happen in time zone 3? And then you get beautiful words like redemption. Your bodies will be redeemed from the present suffering. You get words like hope, and we thought of hope. As J.B. Phillips used the word of a happy certainty, something that's going to happen, where your bodies are renewed, creation is renewed, redeemed. So how do we deal with suffering? We don't glory in the suffering itself, but we glory in how we look back to the cross and we remind ourselves that God is sovereign and loves us. We look forward to the hope of glory, where all the things that we suffer now will be changed in the twinkling of an eye, because Christ will come to rule. So as a Christian, we live in time zone 2, but we learn to look to time zone 1, the life of Christ, peace with God. We have been justified. And then we look forward to glory, where our bodies will be redeemed, where groaning, where frustration, and all those things we feel now will be gone when Christ comes to reign.